Now, the federal government of Nigeria has announced a ban on candidates under the age of 18 from participating in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WAEC, and the National Examination Council, NECO, examinations. Now, this decision is based on concerns about the readiness of underage candidates to meet tough academic standards. This move has been commended by some Nigerians, but others not so much. Nee, what's your thought?
I'm worried about the Nigerians that commended the move in the first place.
Well, so I'm going to quickly say to that effect, right? Because I know that to a large extent, I want to believe they're not just talking about the academic readiness, right? When it comes to mental readiness, there's a level of, and
I want you to learn.
I'm being very honest. You go to universities these days and you see, I would say children, but students who are literally, they look like children. Their belt is here. They look helpless, as though they need mommy and daddy. So in that regard, I would say that, yes, I feel like there's a level of mental readiness, because the reason that a student would go to school and get easily swayed, now I'm not saying that a 20-something-year-old cannot get swayed or be vulnerable, but the reason that these young ones will go to school and not have a moral stand of their own and just get swayed by anything is maybe probably because they're not mentally ready for that world. A child has lived with his parents for like all his life, and they say that even at 18 your brain is still forming. So you go to school and you're not prepared for the academic aspect of it, for balancing the friendship and relationships and even religion. We talked about something the other day where a boy kept giving his church his school fees, and before they found out, it was too late. You know, so in that regard, I would say that maybe that is why they're commenting.
Because I wanted you to learn there. Okay. The first question I wanted to ask is, what exactly does Nigeria prepare you for in the very first place? What does Nigeria prepare you for?
That's really
and we start asking ourselves the second question of saying, okay, we understand that going through the school gives you a moral, is moral and academic excellence. But which and what part of the society is supposed to play the role of enforcing the moral part of it, while the school raise the academic part of it? Moral has to do with community inputs. It's there. Religious inputs is there. Informal sector is there, which are the parents. Friends and families are there. Peer groups are there. No one is talking about tackling all these places and making sure that all these associations are comfortable, are convenient, are free of social vices, is a conducive space for the child to grow morally. Now, we are trying to attack the academic to bring it down, so now bring it at the same level with the moral? No. Let's face the facts. Sincerely, why we are saying, oh, some kids are not ready when they get into the university, or they're acting somehow, they are not mentally stable, they're not mentally... As at 300 level, my classmate was 18. And she was the best in our set, mentally.
I think there was a 19-year-old that
graduated. What really guarantees you, given the right attitude, what really guarantees you exhibiting the right mental strength? It's not really about your school. It's not the four walls of a school. It's the community. It's the community. The people we see outside Nigeria, outside the shores of Africa, making things, developing things, is it that they don't have are we saying they have a better character? Are we saying they are grown mentally? No, they are not grown mentally. But their IQ, their intelligence quotient has grown so much academically that they can sit down and profess solutions, innovations to the problems of their country. So if you're delaying that, it's like we're trying to go back to the Stone Age, sincerely. Because we understand, don't get me wrong, there are so many loopholes, lacunas in some of these things, because we know that, and I said it off air, that most of the millennials didn't do primary 6. I'm sure if they check through, most of the millennials didn't do primary 6. And it's a way for primary school management or authorities to actually make money, because according to what I heard, if you don't do your primary 6, you can get a certificate, then you move on. Allegedly, yeah, you move on and you do all sorts. And at the end of the day, you're still going to be leaving your senior secondary school around 16-ish, and 17. But having to now peg it and say, you cannot even sit for the senior school's examination until you're 18. Some people have finished their schools, their senior schools, this thing at the age of 16. It means 2 years doing nothing because you can't do anything. You can't get a job. You can't learn learning a trade, yeah, maybe. But there's so many things you can't do. Adding to the economic woes that Nigeria is already going through, a community that is not even safe, it's not conducive, there's poverty in the land. Now you're not adding to the level of unemployment, youth that are restful. So
the thing is, Nee, you're saying it as though, so the way it's paining you is like they're delaying these people from getting a job.
I'm worried for my daughter.
Of course, that's obvious. But what I'm saying is, if someone hears you now, right, they would think that, oh, why would you delay 1 more year when that 1 year the person will graduate and get a job? In this economy, getting a job is not even guaranteed.
So even picking your point now, it means that you're further elongating my chances.
No.
It doesn't mean that. No. We are not still putting into context that it's not that you're going to sit at the age of 18 and pass at a stretch. I'm sure you know there's that part too. Where jam will jam you and WAEC will WAEC you. There are so many of that.
Yeah.
But there are so many things to put into consideration before, and that's why NUTs, Nigerian Union of Teachers, are kicking against this.
Yeah.
So many people are kicking against that. Let's look for a better way to implement this. Let's look for a better way to, even at SS1, SS2, some people are already taking their GCE, doing their WAEC, and moving on with their life. Let's tackle other factors that we need to improve the moral development of students.
So, which I 100% agree, but what I am saying is, the country in itself needs to refocus because it looks like we have lost track of priority. What I'm saying is 18 or 19 or 16 people get out of schools and still don't get jobs. So it's like this thing about, okay, adding to the unemployment, even the people that waited till 25,
even 30,
still get out of
job hunting.
So I feel like, yes, I don't think that our priorities lie in the right place because I don't see any reason why we're talking about a 16 or 17 having to take a gap year because they're too young when you know that after school. The question is, after school, what are you offering them? What is available for them to do?
No, to get to the school, you get student loan. It's not been
By the way, has that even been? I don't think that has been.
There's still back and forth. There's still back and forth about implementation.
There's a lot of loopholes that we need to look into, and I think that that's the agitation of a lot of people because it's like, is this what we're talking about? Yorubas will say Shinkota and Solid.
Exactly.
Like,
is this the issue
our
at
priority
hand? Of all the things we're supposed to tackle, there's still out of school children. There's still out of school children, blessings. In Lagos, maybe it's a little bit better because Lagos has a policy of leave no child behind. But what about there are 36 states, for crying out loud? If you know the figure of out of school students or children, pardon me, Kirawa did a story recently about out of school children in Borno State that are nowhere near education. We are not talking about that. That is a way to develop morals. That is the way to take them off the streets. We are not doing that. And we are focusing on now delaying the ones that their parents are forcing themselves through hell to even get the school fees in the first place, to get to the school, to get to education.
Yeah.
Most people can't even afford it. It's not like they can afford taking their children to school. Look at our public schools. They have the best teachers, but the worst infrastructure. The private schools has the best infrastructure, but the medium, the average teachers.
Yeah.
What is the quality of education in Nigeria? What's the quality of access to, what's the access to education in Nigeria? These are the conversations we are supposed to be having.
And it's even bad enough that the education sector, when you talk about practical learning, we've talked about tech a lot of times, but you would see that people finish school to go and learn tech. What shouldn't be? People finish school to go and learn about these things that they should be learning in school.
I did DYDX. To today, I'm still looking for where to apply it.
They say find X.
They say find X.
You think they didn't know what they were saying? Because you will look for it.
And I think I was having a conversation with someone recently that when will we start? I remember our producer, Naomi, did a story on actually having us study or run subjects in schools, in universities that affects that, reflects in our reality. Learning a skill. How you see people. I watched a video, a group of Japanese kids, they put oh my God, Lord Jesus. They put them in front of computers, running them through some programs, sports, exposing them to various things.
Their children, they're is it elementary, they call it children that are making the devices that we're using?
The first time I touched a computer, I was in SS2. That's the very first time I touched a computer system.
So I believe that it's bad enough that in this part of the world, education is not exactly education. A lot of times when they ask, I'm going to use myself as a case study, they ask me, what did you study? And I tell them, and they say, no wonder. I'm like, no, it's not no wonder. Because to be honest, it was more theoretical.
Yeah.
The practical part, sadly, a lot of us had to teach ourselves, which shouldn't be. You would find that in this part of the world, many parents want their children to go to school, not exactly because honestly, they've even lost hope that the child will become better off from going to school. But because they want that child to be occupied. That's where idle mind is a devil's workshop comes from. So imagine enforcing a gap year. Imagine the menace that would cause, because we're already saying that they're out of school children, they're dropouts who are, I'm not saying that every, what's the word now? Every violent child or every child that involves in is an out. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that there is a contributory factor in that. Data has proven that people who are either dropouts or out of school are more likely to indulge in all of these things. So what we're trying to avoid is what you're now bringing them back to.
And let's not leave out the fact that with the way it is now, there was a time they said education is a scam. Education is the key, but the government has pulled the padlock. But I'm not discouraging people from actually, learning. But what I'm saying right now is most people are even going to learn in the first place just to get a certificate, because it's not like they're going to work with it. But to say I'm a graduate, I'm a BSc holder, I'm a master's degree holder, that is what is being used for now. I just feel I hope we refocus and do the right thing. Sincerely, I'm worried, really worried.
I know you are. And it's a bit personal for you.
It is.
But anyways, we'll see how it turns out. Very quickly, we're going to be taking a look at our forecast for the week. Now, the first story on the forecast, Nigeria has become the first African country to obtain Mpox vaccines after receiving 10,000 doses of vaccine from the United States of America. The country's authorities have reportedly prioritized 5 states, Bayelsa, Edo, Cross River, Lagos, and Rivers, with the highest burden of Mpox cases.
And the southern African country, Zimbabwe, is currently experiencing one of the worst droughts in living memory, leaving close to 70 million people hungry. As a result, vegetable irrigation schemes in the Musht district have been suspended.
And also, more than half of Sudan's 45 million people need urgent relief aid. More than 12 million are displaced, including nearly 2 million refugees in neighboring countries. Food security specialists fear that as many as 2.5 million people could die from hunger by the end of the year. And these are the stories that we'll be keeping a tab on in the coming week. I
think Nigeria had that same prediction of 2.5 million people going on hunger, food crisis, because we're all in this food crisis thing.
Everybody. Anyways, it's been a very interesting episode from the most constant face on the show.
Oh, please, not this again.
I gotta say that.
Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. on your screen. Who knows who will be the co-host or host by then, but as Blessing said, she's always a constant face. My name is Igbalani Yomoni.
I'm
Do have a good
Blessings
rest.
Musugu.